Welcome to the Ask the Expert show. My name is Hassani.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Lakeisha.
And we're here every single night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to be able to connect with people around the world to answer your questions. So listen, if you are dating, if you're in a committed courtship, if you're engaged, if you're married, if you're separated, if you're on the verge of divorce, if you don't know what situation you're in, you just call it complicated. This is the perfect place to be and at the right time so that we can delve into your situation and answer your questions to give you a pathway to a better life. So listen, ask your questions. Don't wait till the last minute because, once we get started, boom, it's over before you know it. We just want to thank everybody for tuning in. We see you. Yes, this is a great place to hang out and learn from other people's situation, but get what you came to get here tonight. Listen, we're excited because, Jeff, you're here in the flesh. Lakeisha's on the screen, but she'll be here tomorrow. The entire team is assembling. We're coming together like Voltron because we have work to do this weekend. It is, yes, indeed, the last chance weekend, and we have couples from all over the country who are flying in and driving in to experience something transformational. So keep them in prayer. It's going to be an amazing event. I can't wait to come back with some testimonials. And listen, my question for you, since this is our last night of the week doing Ask the Experts, what's going on with Valentine's Day? What's going on? What's up? What you doing? You got plans? You buying gifts? Are you getting together with your loved one? Like, what's happening? I want to hear from you. But listen, let's dive into the questions. I have a question that came through text I want to get to first. And it says, hold on one second. It's just, all right, here we go. Listen, my husband cheated and we've been back together for 8 months. Today, my husband posted a picture that I believe the affair partner was cropped out of. Does this mean that he's missing his life with her? What say you?
I want to focus in on that word, I believe. You know what assumption does?
Yeah.
It's not healthy to assume these things without further evidence. It's not healthy, especially if you're trying to build back. The best thing I can tell you to do is just know that he probably thought he looked good in that picture, and that's the reason why he has it up. Now, for him, if he actually did do that, that's not smart. But the word I believe is what I'm hanging on.
Belief does not require evidence.
Does not.
It doesn't require any information. It's just a belief, right? So I guess the question deserves to be questioned. What makes you believe that? It's really a rhetorical question because obviously we're not in a conversation with you. But to Jeff's point, it doesn't necessarily, first of all, it would just be stupid for him. It's just stupid to post a picture that of him and an affair partner that he cropped out and to put it on social media. There had to be some other reason. Maybe he liked the way he looked, to your point, or maybe it was somebody else. Who knows? I think it's worthy of having a conversation with your husband and finding out exactly what it is so that it can confirm or correct the belief that you do have. What do you think about that, Lakeisha?
You guys got to have a conversation. I mean, obviously there's a history there. There has been infidelity. So that leads to insecurities and doubt. And you're questioning everything post infidelity. So rather than make an assumption, I agree, have a conversation with your husband. Don't assume anything ever.
Yeah, there it is. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight. We've only had one question. This has been the shortest Ask the Experts in history. 4 minutes in, we're about to shut this thing down because there are no questions tonight. Sometimes it's just like that. Maybe we just want to just chill and hang out. And are there other questions? Do you see him?
No, I just see Gerardo Ramirez is talking about bachata. That's what he's doing on Valentine's Day.
I know that's right.
Who here knows how? You know how to dance bachata? Lakeisha?
Oh, I didn't even know what bachata
Yes.
was.
Bachata. It's a Dominican dance.
Yeah, hey, bachata, merengue, salsa. Listen, I got it all. I got it. I can do it.
I'm married to a Dominican, so I know about bachata.
I can do it.
Excellent. Derek says, I'm so angry with myself for not being able to be there this weekend. Well, come on, brother. There's always next month. There's another weekend waiting, and it has your name on it. All right, Shalise has a question. My husband is struggling with the loss of his friendship with his emotional affair partner. I am terrified of that, but I understand that his feeling matters. What can we do to help him through and keep So on and so on and so forth. So when you guys write long comments, we can't capture everything, but we get the gist of your question.
My drive to keep fighting.
I love him and want my marriage, but this is hard. Yeah. The thing about an emotional affair, and you all can weigh in on this, there is an entanglement, if you will, in terms of emotions and thoughts and feelings. And when that relationship comes to an end, you got to understand that there's a difference between being single and separate. Like if I'm in a relationship with you today, right, and we break up today. Today is what? Thursday, right? Sunday, a few days later, I may be separate from you, but I'm not single yet, right? And so, I usually talk about this when dealing with singles who are dating. You can be physically separate from someone, but not single. There's got to be a cleansing process. We talk about how it's important for women to have a detox, getting that man out of your system, and men should have a she-tox, getting that woman out of your system, because there are all types of attachments, right? And so it is a process. And the question is he doing anything proactively to remove these ties, these emotional, these mental, these psychological ties that he has with that affair partner? And so it is a process. And just like you're grieving the loss of the relationship that you had with him, he may be grieving the loss of the relationship that he had with her as he's trying to reconnect and rekindle with you. So this is why we always encourage going with someone who can kind of guide you both through the process, because both of you are experiencing this journey together from two different perspectives and two different sides. So I just want to encourage you that many people have been in this situation and have overcome it. And so that love was reestablished with the spouse.
I also want to encourage him and you that there's a loss always in those situations, and it has to be filled by something. And I'll tell you, one of the best places you could go is having it filled with positive men who are all striving for the same goal, which is to keep their marriage. And that's why we built the Foundry program.
Very true. Very, very true. Vashon says, surprise comedy show in the Chicago theater, Ronnie Ching. That's what he's doing for Valentine's Day.
Right.
Sounds like a great, great, great idea. Kayla says, we are married, but I feel separation is our best shot so that I can focus on healing and him the same eye. Okay. So in essence, you want to separate. Well, listen, many people transition into separations and don't have a game plan. They don't have an end goal. They just want to separate and take a break to get away and clear their minds. And what happens is you got to leave, right? So I'm going to get myself an apartment, but now you're forced to get a lease. And now you're stuck in a 1-year lease. And now why don't we just be separated till the lease is over? Now I'm comfortable in my spot. You're comfortable in your spot. I got my own patterns now. I got my own behaviors. I got my own routines. This is actually comfortable. I'm actually enjoying this. And so what happens is the more comfortable you get, the longer you remain in that situation. And I think if you're going to be separated, there should be an end goal in mind. There should be a purpose for the separation, and it should be time stamped. And the more uncomfortable I am during my separation, the more I'm itching to get back. But if I'm setting up shop and I got my own spot now and I'm good, I got my pad, there's no motivation to go back. And so this is why we encourage you to do a controlled separation, not just a regular separation, because the separation is one step closer to divorce. A controlled separation is one step closer to reconciliation.
You said it all.
All right, there it is. Jaguar Rose. The more things improve and he's making progress makes me feel more scared that a relapse is coming. How can I trust things are really different this time? That's a great question. I have an excellent thought, but I want you two to weigh in. What are your thoughts on that?
My answer is going to be similar to the other one, is making sure that you have the support. And so at the end of the day, he needs to be around people who are moving in the same direction and trying to stay strong so that the chances of that relapse are lessened.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, like I said, Foundry or some kind of men's group, maybe it's a men's church group, whatever it is, needs to be around men who are striving for the same cause, that will encourage each other on a daily basis to keep in the fight. And that way, those things that may come up, he's doing so well, right? So something's got to trip him up. That's what we believe. But let's hope that doesn't happen. And let's just hope that he's got positive people around him to encourage him on the path.
Okay.
But don't be sitting in expectation of the failure, because that will create a failure.
Yes.
Akeisha?
Yes. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Absolutely. Like I want you to try to shift your thinking and focus on what can be in a positive way versus your fears, allowing your fears to take over and you then give energy to what ifs. You know, what if he cheats again? What if he goes back? What if he relapses? Anything you feed will grow. So if you continue to feed those negative thoughts and that negative energy, that's what will grow. So instead of doing that, why don't you focus on the fact that he is showing up, he's trying to do things the right way, and time will tell.
And celebrate that he's trying to do things the right way, because what happens is we don't always know this, that what we're thinking in our heads we telegraph in our energy and in our body language and even in our speech. So when we create suspicious behavior where it's not deserved, it throws a vibe off that can throw the vibe off. And so you don't want to create the monster in your head and make it a reality by living in fear of the non-existential. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand that I understand there are triggers and there's pain from the past, but the past no longer exists. And what you're imagining about the future doesn't exist right now. And if you're living in suffering of things that don't exist, what do you call that? Insanity. Now, we all live in some kind of fear, and that's just a socially acceptable form of insanity. And so I would just try to stay away from that as much as possible, focus on the positive, because let's put it this way. At the end of the day, even if there was a relapse, it's going to hurt more if you help to create it through your suspicion than if you allow him to grow and support him in his excellence.
For me, when I read this question, it's less about him and more about her, right? So
Absolutely.
he's doing the right thing. She's admitting that, but
Right.
it's her fear. She's scared. It's so interesting. I just had a session prior to the show with a couple, and it's the same exact situation, right? So she does not believe that he's truly changed, even though his behaviors reflect that, because inherently she believes that change takes place over a long period of time. And how can in 2 months, 3 months, this be real? So there's an expectation and an anticipation of more of the same that she just got out of.
Right.
And I had to help her understand. I said, but so who's responsible? Who's responsible for your fear?
Right.
Who's responsible? I said, who's responsible?
Right.
Is it him or is it you? I guess it's me. I said, yeah, because it's your fear. By your own admission, he's showing up doing the right thing. And he even asked her, he said, listen, grade me. How have I been doing? Give me a letter grade. A, right? So he's been doing the right thing. But she has within her an internal, deeply embedded belief system that he's going to do it. Now, I understand where that fear comes from because you're looking at the past situation. But it's almost like, when a person's committed a crime, they go to jail, they serve their time, they get out, but they can't get a job, they can't vote.
Right.
Everybody reminds them of what they've done. They're constantly imprisoned even when they're out of the prison. Right. And this is what we call confirmation bias. You're looking for something to confirm the bias that you have about that person. And so there's healing that needs to be done on both parts. Right. But there's work that needs to be done on both parts. And so it is your fear to properly manage. Right. You have to begin to manage your emotions and to manage your thoughts and focus on the present moment, not an anticipated negative future experience. Because in the present moment, all is well. He's showing up. He's doing what he has to do. So stay present. Stay present. And I think that'll help you in your situation.
I want to use an analogy real quick that'll put it in perspective. If a child was doing terrible in school and all of a sudden they started performing A's and the teacher came to you as a parent and told you, I know he's doing good now, but I know he's going to fail again, how would you feel? Wouldn't it be much better if that teacher was supportive and encouraged the good performance as opposed to doubting and putting him in the position of feeling like a failure even when he wins?
And how can he change? How can he change in like 2 to 3 months? It's so simple. A made up mind. A
That's
made
it.
up mind is such a powerful thing. Once we make up our minds that we want a certain thing or we're going to do a certain thing and we focus all our energy into that, there can be true healing and transformation. It all begins with a made up mind.
A
That's a
made up mind. I
that's a
love it. I
definition
love
of
it.
a
I love
breakthrough.
it. Listen, guys, you're watching Ask the Experts. There's some more questions coming. We want you to stay right there. Be right back.
Couples Academy is committed to serving couples around the world by reaching beyond cultural lines and language barriers. We are proud to announce that we now serve the Spanish-speaking community. So whether you're here in the United States or abroad, Couples Academy has a place for you.
Couples Academy se compromete a servir parejas de todo el mundo, superando las fronteras culturales y las barreras del idioma. Ahora, estamos orgullosos de anunciar que servimos a la comunidad de habla hispana. Entonces, ya sea que estés aquí en los Estados Unidos o en el extranjero, Couples Academy está aquí para servirle.
All right, guys, you're watching Ask the Experts. We are back. There's some more questions that we want to take the time to delve into, but I'm going to go to Darren right quick because Darren says that's key. A controlled separation is what my wife and I did. In game was to get to the Couples Academy, and they helped save our marriage. Thank you so much for sharing that, because controlled separations work. And then, you just allow God to move. And then all of a sudden, you know what? He plants a seed and it produces a harvest of change and transformation in your life. And we're excited about all that you two have experienced and will continue to experience in your recovery process. All right, we got a question from Edit Man. My wife cheated on me continuously with her last two exes, and I'm not sure if it's a mental issue or not because she can't let go. I know God can't be wrong. We have 3 kids. They not mine, but I don't see any reason to be here but the boys. And then he says, what could God be planning in all of this turmoil? Go ahead, Lakeisha.
Wow. So this is the thing. We're always trying to figure out what God is up to and what is he planning and what is the reason behind the different trials and tribulations that we go through. And sometimes you'll get an answer right away. Sometimes it will be a long time before you get an answer, and you may not get an answer on this side at all. But the reality is you have to continue to lean and trust and depend on God to carry you through this particular situation. You got to pray and you've got to ask for guidance and direction. I understand that you're hurting, and when we're emotional, we have a tendency to make rash decisions, and we rush to a decision because we're hurting and we're bleeding and we want the bleeding to stop. But if you still love your wife and you want to work it out, and she is at least making an effort and trying and committed to working it out, then I say keep fighting for your marriage. You got to think about your ROI, right? What's your return on investment? You've invested time and energy and everything into this marriage. And so have you gotten the return that you want? Do you want to walk away before you get the return that you potentially can get? You don't want to jump out of there too soon and miss out on getting that return. So I would say definitely reach out. I would love, Hassani would love, Jeff would love, Danielle would love, all of us, we would love to be able to support you and your wife through this process, because it's a lot. And I know that when kids are involved, that makes it that much more difficult. But it sounds like you guys could use a third party coming in and giving you some support. If it's a mental issue, I don't know. We don't have enough information to make that determination, nor do we diagnose. but definitely getting some additional support, and again getting a third party to get in there and kind of help you guys unpack everything that's been going on, I think would be beneficial to you.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. Listen, we have more comments. We got to jump to them. Nina Wright, regarding what she's doing for Valentine's Day. I'm cooking a seafood dinner and a movie for Valentine's Day. I love it. Let them keep coming in because I need an idea.
You need some ideas.
Then we have Shalice says, I love your wisdom and strength, Jeff. You inspire me.
Oh, thank you.
Look at that. You got your
Right?
roses today. You didn't have to wait till Valentine's Day. All right, Callie, power couple, unfaithful firewalls, i.e. TV monitored, phone, etc., becomes the norm for the marriage. Is that healthy for the marriage? FYI, I know with it, or I'm cool with it, but I feel that the marriage isn't healing that way.
Well, I say that there's a period of time where that is 100% expected and 100% healthy. And what has to happen, though, is there has to be steps to begin to start a process of belief that ends up in faith, that ends up in trust, that ends up in knowledge and certainty. And so a lot of people will go through these phases and they'll end up being the rest of their lives and they feel trapped by it. But if you can create a process, and I'll be teaching a class on that and the emotional triggers about how you can avoid that. So I would definitely tune into that. When is that? That's next week.
Next Saturday. And I think they did sign up, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did sign up for the emotional triggers. And guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be so deep dive and comprehensive. It's beyond what the title would suggest. One thing we believe is overwhelming you with content. I'd rather give you a lot more than what you expect than a lot less. So I'm telling you, if you haven't signed up yet, you definitely want to be there. And we will have a portion for Q&A because these are some legitimate questions that many of you have as it relates to triggers. And we want to be able to give you some guidance to help you overcome these challenges. Lakeisha, did you want to weigh in on that or?
I don't have anything additional to add. I agree.
All right. Here we go. Kathy has a question. How can I tell my husband that I feel like I'm his mother more than I feel like I'm his wife without being disrespectful?
Oh, that's easy. Super easy. And hey, Kat.
I'm just saying, she does. She does.
What you have to do, sis, literally is identify the reasons why you feel like his mother. And instead of using those words, I feel more like your mom than I do your wife, you just point out those specific things that you are having an issue with. And don't let the focus be that you feel like his mom. Let the focus be that this is not what I believe my role as your wife should be. I really want to focus on XYZ. Like, I know you, so I'm not going to use examples, but you just have to be clear, concise, and direct. Let him know what your expectations are. Let him know what you're comfortable with and what you're uncomfortable with, and let him know what it is that you want to see from him.
And be prepared to have some issues that he's going to roll out as well that he would like you to work on. I don't know your situation, but I'm just saying that anytime we're ready to criticize anyone else, we should be prepared. As the Bible says in Proverbs, a wise man loves reproof, a wise woman also loves reproof.
Well, I do know her, and that advice was right on time. So,
well, there it is. Derek has another comment. He mentioned he would have loved to been here this weekend. This weekend would have been perfect for us. Valentine's Day and our 20th anniversary is on the 23rd.
Mine's on the 28th.
Wow.
Let me tell you something. All you really need is will. There was a situation where somebody called me literally on a Monday, halfway through the day. They were in a situation where they needed help and nothing on their schedule worked the following week, the weeks after, because of a busy schedule. He got on the plane the very next morning and showed up for an intensive. All you need is the will to do it. Okay? So I don't care that it's 9:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're in New Orleans. I think you're an hour back. You can get on the plane and be here. We have room for you. Come. sometimes, you know what, when an opportunity presents itself, all of the circumstances look impossible. Like, no, it can't be. I can't move that out the way. I got this obligation. But sometimes when you're willing to take a leap, a quantum leap, it can be transformational for your entire life. Why allow Valentine's Day to be what it's always been? Do something different.
Take a mental health day from work. We'll see you tomorrow.
Boom. All right. A Cali power couple. Oh, just want to thank you, Asani. Just when I thought that I had it all together, boom, I learned more with y'all than I learned with the Navy. Look.
Dang.
Golly. Kay says, I appreciate that. Kay says, private chef for dinner at home for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Much needed time. I love it, love it, love it. Another question from Taya, if I'm saying that correctly. What advice would you give newlyweds who has never seen marriage firsthand on both sides? I know we all can wait on this. Number one, I'm going to say what?
Get some counseling.
Boom. I mean, and listen, get legitimate counseling. Get premarital counseling with a minimum of at least 8 to 10 sessions.
Yes.
Minimum. Then what I would do is I would try to befriend successful couples.
Yes, that was what I was
Place yourself in an environment. You are a seed. Place yourself in the soil or in the environment where the best can come out of you and you can grow and develop to be just like your surrounding, your environment. You are the sum total of your 5 closest friends. So get around some positive people who can show you the way.
We got to tell them what that looks like. So look, you need to find a couple that's been married at least 20 years, that is still holding hands, that people are still like PDA ill, like get a room, like you need to find a couple that's still madly in love with each other after 20 years. If you can find that, they can reveal to you how they did it.
There it is, guys. I mean, I hope this is helping. Keith, there's a question from Keith, or a statement. Do you offer a program to help the less fortunate? My wife and I really need that help, but can't afford it. Reach out to us, 678-200-8996. Go to the website, couplesacademy.org. The one thing that's great about what we do, we have such a powerful group of people who are part of our community who help pay it forward. There have been people who have taken advantage of our services, have been blessed by it, and have paid it forward by offering a stipend, a portion of their income to go towards a scholarship for others. There have been others who've been inspired by the show and have never taken advantage of our services, but they were so blessed by what they've experienced, they have sown a seed. So reach out to us and let's hear more about your situation. We believe in helping people up. Okay. And that's for all of you who are watching. You just never know what opportunity may be available. All right. JJ has a question. I want to thank you all so much. I constantly hear my husband quote Jeff, deposit into that emotional bank. You have all helped us grow. Looking to join the Triggers class. Amazing. Look at you, Jeff. You got 2. Man, I think you and Lakeisha are neck and neck.
I'm blushing. Like, I don't even know what to say.
This is awesome, guys. Listen, I hope you've gotten something out of today's episode. There was one more question I wanted to get to. Here we go. This is from Jaguar. She says, Hassani always says men are motivated by the fear of losing. I have committed to making it work. Divorce is off the table. Does taking away his fear of losing me and erase that motivation? Does taking away his fear of losing me erase the motivation?
I say no. Because again, if he has a made up mind that he wants you and he's committed to working on the marriage and doing what needs to be done, fear of losing you, that shouldn't change anything. So what's the motive? What's the intent for the behavior?
I think there's not enough information there. At the end of the day, it really depends on where he's at. So that motivation by the fear of loss is always real in a man's mind. You threatening divorce doesn't necessarily create that. His actions and his behaviors create that fear of loss. And if you play into negative behaviors, period, whether you're taking divorce is not the question. If you're playing into the negative behaviors and allowing them to happen, that's what he's talking about, fear of loss. If you're playing into it, you won't have that fear of loss.
And so listen, guys, we thank you for tuning in tonight. That is Ask the Experts. I hope that you got something out of it. And Derek, I will see you in the morning, my brother. Take care, guys.